Hey, welcome back, folks. So there's no question that we're experiencing some economic turbulence, be it the tariffs or potential changes in tax code to government spending cuts. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I thought today might be a great day for Richie and I to have a conversation about, number one, what are those tax cuts, tariffs, and all these things? How do they really affect us? Not just billionaires talking about it. And number two, who should be the architects of said rebuild? So I'm just going to start off and say, Richie, have the tariffs affected you in a negative manner or not yet?
Not that I can see. If they are, I don't know about it.
Have you listened to anybody who's been talking about what the tariffs are doing? Other than probably watching the stock market have its ADHD moment of the month.
No, the only talk I hear about it outside of the news or whatever, or my phone, is customers, for example, that come to the parts counter at the Harley dealership who are really concerned that their oil is going to get a whole lot more expensive and their parts are going to get a whole lot more expensive when these tariffs kick in. Other than that, I don't know about it.
Right. So it's just a bunch of it's nonsense fear.
I would say so. At this point, it's too early to tell, I would say.
Crude oil is down to $60 a barrel.
Oh, wow.
Bet nobody knows that. So crude is at $60 a barrel, and we're still in Minnesota paying, north of $3.30 a gallon.
Okay.
Which makes no sense to me. You've got folks like Mark Cuban out there pontificating on what these tariffs actually mean, but tariffs used to, in essence, fund the United States of America many, many years ago.
Okay.
And we pay tariffs to every country on planet Earth. And you're starting to see more and more of that. And I don't feel like legacy media is putting out the percentages to show how ridiculously high the tariffs are that we're forced and we're penalized by when we send our goods to these other countries.
Correct.
And being from the Great White North,
yeah,
we do a lot of business with Canadian companies.
Yes.
And there's a rather large Canadian tariff now on the stuff that we send them. But now we're getting that tariff back reciprocated. I do believe it's over 200% that we pay on milk, cheeses, other things. And I wish I had taken more notes when I was talking to my agriculture buddy today about this thing, because it's nonsense. Like, they're bitching and complaining that we're putting something in place that's, you can read the headlines. It's so good if we're paying the tariffs to these other countries. It just means we're throwing them our cash. But God forbid we ever try to get our money back. And somehow that is economic suicide.
The folks that seem to have gotten us into this mess are the ones that are bitching about trying to clean it up. And also, for some reason, we keep putting them back in that position. So at the end of the day, do we really have a whole lot of bitching to be doing when we keep putting folks back in there?
Yep.
Okay.
Here's just my stupid take on it, because this one infuriates me to a point where it's hard for me to control and not use curse words, which I'm going to try to steer clear of.
Okay.
But our government, when it comes to spending, is like a drunk driver. And you're in the back seat and they hit a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And you're dead sober. You're like, hey, bud, let me step in. I'm just going to get us home and we're going to deal with this tomorrow morning. And here comes career politician. I'm good to go. I can get us that last 7 miles. You've done nothing to prove to me that you could even get us that block before we hit that first wall. And now we're going to let those same dipshits back behind the wheel and correct it? You put us $35 trillion in debt. You're done. If your kid pissed away that much of your money, there's no way that kid's got access to the credit cards or the checkbook anymore. So it's time to be done with this bullshit. And these people that live in fear, they're watching their stocks. And granted, they are wildly, wildly fluctuating. There's no question that I've taken a hit. But I'm a long haul investor, just like most people are. And we've never had a time where there's been fewer people in that market carrying this little amount of weight. I think it's 92% of all the dollars invested are held by 10% of all the people. in the stock market.
Really? I didn't know that statistic.
It's huge. I mean, it's and again, now some of this is from iFunny, but I did verify. But it was certainly north of 90 or north of 85% was about the lowest figure I saw. Was held by 10% of the people, or under 10%.
So let me ask you this then. Why do you think that the small people like you and I, some of them are so pissed off about all this stuff happening? Why are people so pissed off about attacking the fraud, waste, and abuse? Why are so many people pissed off about tariffs? Why are people so pissed off when they see the president on TV talking about the new golden age of America? I guess I would figure that doesn't matter what side of the line you fall on, you would want that to be true, no matter who's at the helm. Even if for whatever reason, old word salad Kamala got elected and she was doing the same thing, I would like to think that everyone would be on board with finding where we're wasting money, like finding out how fast shrimp run on a treadmill and going, this is effing ridiculous. We can't be doing this. Why do you think so many people are so pissed?
But that's the it's the unknowable thing. It's why people are so programmed into watching the news that they watch, and then they have this charged emotional response that's not based in anything that's real.
But they're so
How many of those people that are actually that upset about it are financial stakeholders in the system?
Well, I would guess hardly any of them.
Right. So they're worried about the thing that they're worried about is the thing that they've been screwed on for the past 40 years. Average American incomes have not really increased in 40 years, but the cost of homes has gone up 400%. The cost of your food has nearly tripled. So now those few dollars that we work our asses off to attain go less and less. And that's what they're worried about. That's where your worries need to be. You need to be worried if God forbid you had to buy I can't do this myself because I don't care if it's my last dime. Name brand Kraft mac and cheese is what's happening in my household. Period. That other stuff, I don't know how you can fuck up. Oh, hell to no. Just mac and cheese. Spiral, if daddy's choosing. If the kids have a choice, regular noodle. Because apparently they lack that finite taste that I have, that fine palate of mine.
Well, they have juvenile palates.
Yes, they are trash. But that's where they're worried about. It's not on the things that they hide behind. It's not the things that the media forces them to talk about or say that, well, it's because of tariffs. I'm no longer going to do this, or it's because of deportations. I'm going to pay $4 for a head of lettuce. I mean, let's talk about the racist pieces of shit in Washington, D.C. When they say deportations, good luck getting your lawn mowed. Good luck getting your vegetables pulled. Right? Who the fuck are you people sitting there in your ivory towers to shit on all these people that are being deported as low-level functionaries? And now magically, no American is going to do that. Bullshit. If paid properly, who do you think's going to do it?
I know quite a few people that cut grass for a living, and they're quite happy doing it.
Damn straight. So, I mean, the shit, it's so nonsensical to listen to these people keep talking about it. And that's why I think that fear-mongering that they continue to push on us, man, you just watch it. A guy's worried about Harley Davidson is a quintessential American company.
Yes.
But where do your parts come from?
Well, some of them come from Taiwan.
Bingo. Now, I don't think we're changing the game on Taiwanese imports.
No.
Certainly not for like an oil tank, a couple of fiberglass shells.
I'll say this, it's not many. But there are, like the new Rev Max motors are built in Taiwan.
And I would wonder, I mean, that's half of the shit, right? Is there are certain advantages to making certain parts here in the United States. Quality control is far higher when it comes to the internal stuff. So anybody here that's watching this, if you've ever been to Europe and you've bought like a DeWalt tool, which unfortunately for me, I have bought tools in Europe and used them, and they are so outside of the fact that they're in the same case, they're not built the same.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Soft metals, all these other pieces. So what ends up happening is we engineer and make all these fantastically difficult parts, and then we send them to some foreign country for assembly, and then they come back to America for final assembly. Maybe they get a fuel line put on them or a stamp, and then they can say made in America. Right?
Yes. Well, but here's the thing, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong for this train of thought, but I'm not necessarily mad about Taiwan stamping fairings, for example. Let's just for conversation. I mean, they're made in Wisconsin, but let's just say for conversation's sake that Harley Davidson motorcycle fairings were stamped in Taiwan and shipped over. Okay. I'm not necessarily mad about that because I have to deal with the people that come to the store and go, well, this is so goddamn expensive. I'm not buying this ever again. Okay, well that affects my livelihood and how I take care of my family. So like I think that there's a healthy balance that we can find. Okay, so if folks in Taiwan can do it for $4 cheaper, but 95% of my Harley is made in America, okay. But where people have the problem, and I guess where I kind of get frustrated with it, is that Harley will say 100% made in America. Right. Well, that's bullshit. So let's just be honest about it. They're amazing bikes. I love my Harley, but it's not 100% made in America.
No, and it does.
So let's just be honest about it.
Yeah, and I don't think that's happened since the 90s. If you want to look at where all this, everything that we're dealing with right now, where all this started was Bill Clinton and that North American Free Trade Agreement. I remember the first snowmobile I ever bought. It was brand new in 1993, and it had the sticker on it. Do you remember that? I mean, I know you're a little younger than me, and he's never going to let me forget that. Quite a bit. He's so full of shit.
4 years.
But they had stickers. Like this thing had a legitimate, like an embossed sticker that said made in America with the cool flag on it. I mean, Walmart had it on their t-shirts, everything. There was this huge push for like American products, which, to be honest, were far superior. They lasted longer. Everything was better. We all have that grandma with that fridge out in the garage. You know, that old Sears. I don't even know what the hell those things are made out of, but I mean, they run on pussy farts because they just keep going. And then I go buy a brand new $4,000 refrigerator that within 6 months needs 4 technicians to come out and fix the ice maker. And no longer can I keep my popsicles frozen, but I digress. That was kind of the beginning of this change, and a lot of these things got outsourced away. And when you lose those middle of the road jobs, they don't seem important. That $4 fender, right? Or the fairing that's, hypothetically now made in Taiwan. But if there were good paying jobs in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, making said fairing, then those people have more money. And that's what we're really looking at here is these tariffs are going to drive these businesses back into this country, which will then drive the businesses. And so it takes somebody with some business sense and savvy to see how that's going to work. But when you get down to the root of the problem, and this is where Mr. Soapbox comes to ride again, maybe Harley should make you a soapbox that we could literally have you stand on at one of the next events.
I like soapboxes.
I will work on it. I will see what I can do. But why do we even allow these politicians freedom to walk in the streets when they make so many horseshit decisions for their own constituents?
Well, I think it's because they somehow, I shouldn't say somehow, I think we know how. They scare the shit out of people. And so they craft these narratives about there's recently the cell phone thing. Well, you better buy your new iPhone now because it's going to be $4,000 when the tariffs kick in. Yeah, okay, come on.
That's such bullshit.
And then come Thanksgiving time, the iPhone 29,000 is going to come out, and it's going to be the best thing ever, and everyone's going to pay $2,500 for it because it's the best iPhone that's ever come out.
Well, don't worry. You can finance it over the next 3 decades.
Yeah.
They'll have a mortgage plan for it.
It'll be $34 a month for your firstborn until they're 40. Yeah. But it's like, where I get caught up is that we have all of these things and there's a little bit of change coming and it seems positive. It seems like there's some positive things coming, even if you can say that you don't necessarily like Donald Trump, you don't agree with his methods, you don't like his approach, you don't like the way he talks to people, you don't like the way he talks about people. But none of these folks actually look at what the results are. And I think that if we stop to focus on the results of what the man is doing, who gives a shit if you like him? Quite frankly, I think that you need a guy that you can't like in those positions. You need a guy that's going to go to your enemies somewhere else in the world and go, look, motherfucker, A, B, and you're going to do C. And if not, you don't like D, and D's coming.
Right.
And don't you want that guy? Don't you want that person in your corner, whether you like him or not? I don't know. There were many times I really did not like my parents, but I'll tell you what, I didn't want to feel their wrath. I didn't want to disappoint them. I didn't want them to be upset at me. I didn't want them to be pissed. I didn't want to deal with it. But I knew they had my best interest at heart, even though I felt like they were putting me down,
right,
or keeping me back. So I don't know. I think and then we resort to burning down car dealerships and defacing property and attacking each other and all kinds of crazy shit. Setting a governor's house on fire. With Molotov cocktails.
They've lost their minds.
What? All over what? Because someone's trying to put more money in your pocket and deport people that aren't supposed to be here?
Well, and look at the two different ways that the different sides approach this. When there's a boycott of something with a conservative twist, there tends to be destruction from the other side.
Absolutely.
When there's a boycott from the more conservative side of something, they just don't buy it. Like, why do you have to go key somebody's Tesla? Just don't go buy a Tesla.
Yeah.
That's what we quit buying Bud Light.
Yeah.
They learned a lesson.
Yep.
It's happened to many businesses, that go woke, go broke.
Yeah. Make that Tesla dealership a ghost town.
Yeah. Just don't go buy one. Yep. Don't go key my shit because you're pissed off over somebody that's doing something that's truly going to help you. And then I did see AOC. She said that Elon Musk is the least impressive billionaire that she's ever met. And I don't want to say dumbest, but certainly that was the gist of what she was trying to say.
He's dumb?
So the guy that can, put rockets into the
rescue
stratosphere,
astronauts,
bring astronauts back from the space station, create a self-landing rocket missile, design and work and create Starlink and bring internet to places that would have never had internet before.
And design chopsticks to catch said missile.
Right?
What?
It's some Austin Powers shit. I think there's the humor in this thing that we want to downplay somebody's intelligence or abilities based upon a politician's feelings.
I think she just got mad because he didn't get impressed by her shaking her titties at him.
She's an
idiot.
The horse face killer.
Yeah, right.
Maybe Wu-Tang should come back.
They are coming back. I heard that there's a new album coming, possibly. So if you're a Wu-Tang fan, completely off topic, but if you're a Wu-Tang fan, be on the lookout.
Right. Well, maybe they need Wu-Tang Financial to come back from the Dave Chappelle show.
Hey.
Do you remember that skit?
I never watched it.
No.
I've never seen one episode of Chappelle
We're going to
show.
watch. When we're done with this, you're going to watch Wu-Tang Financial. It's probably one of the best things. Okay. And it makes sense to the conversation that we have right now.
I'll report back.
But there's where this politician-driven narcissism at its finest is what tears apart America every time. Like, we're this benevolent behemoth of a country giving away billions of dollars when we can't afford it. Like, if you had a family member that was totally in debt, and they come to Christmas and they give everybody a brand new car, would you want to accept that?
Well, I guess it depends on who it is.
Right, you're going to drive the axe in, I guess.
I mean, I have family members that, if they were rich enough, it would probably be genuine.
Right.
But I also have family members that it would be some loaded bullshit.
That's That's what you see. Like, these politicians are so quick to hand our money out, our tax dollars that we give to them to take care of us, to other countries, to other places, to other things, to all this other bullshit. And they don't put the tourniquet. It's like you've got a mass bleed in your leg and you know it's an artery. And they put the tourniquet on your neck. Those are our politicians. Like, oh, we're going to save the leg. You're going to kill the host. They're parasites. They truly are. I don't know where it goes, but I don't know how you can have a $174,000 a year salary job and pump away millions of dollars a year.
Yeah. And never be held responsible for it.
Never once.
In fact, brag about it.
Right. Yeah, I'm so good at this. Look at what I can do. Shit, what are the tariffs going to do? The tariffs aren't going to do anything to these people. They'll be out in front of that. They're probably the ones that loaded up the Globemaster with all the iPhones, and they're going to be selling them down at the Unbank on the east side.
Yeah. C17 outlet store.
Yeah, right. If he's coming to an NGO near you.
Yeah, right.
But I think.
Are you worried?
No.
I mean, you're in the construction trade. Are you worried about tariffs?
Well, I don't really do much in the construction trade anymore. I mean, the tariffs aren't going to affect me in any way, shape, or form. I'm hopeful that what we would see during this upheaval is there's a lot of things that are moving. There's a lot of dollars being reinvested into other types of standards at rates that we had never seen before. I think with XRP's big moves coming forward, I think when you start to see a lot of the institutional investors really swooping up and buying into Bitcoin and other digital currencies, that what you're going to see is a leveling across all countries. Because as much as we want those tariffs to come back to us, there's a lot of countries that have been completely depressed by the things that we do. And their currencies are artificially low because of it. And it's not like China where they go in and they manipulate their currency so they can buy up our debt for pennies. Trump is playing that game right now. They want to drive this thing up. He wants to see the Fed put the hammer down on interest rates. He wants to see those interest rates come down so people can start getting into houses again. Money can start moving more freely. And then when we go to renegotiate those long-term debt deals we have with these countries, he's going to be able to renegotiate those debt terms with new dollars. And it sounds weird, but that's why he does what he does. He's not a dipshit, and I guarantee he's not the only one. And they're watching this thing pretty precisely, and they're playing the hands that they can. I mean, he gave China kind of an open opportunity, I think, over the last weekend to kind of just say, hey, let's both prevail as winners, so neither of us have to show defeat. And it doesn't seem like China wants to do that.
I don't think they do either.
So I say game on.
Well, I think maybe that's why so many people in the institution, if that's what you want to call it, hate him so much, right? Like people have been talking about it for years. Well, he's not a politician, but like at the core of it, it's 1,000% true. I mean, the guy doesn't see politics, right? Mm-hmm. He sees an advantage for the American people. He sees where we've been screwed over. And I feel like the politicians know it, and they know where it's been and where it's coming and where it sits currently, but they all got their hands out. And so when you have people in positions of power that can't be bought, like who's buying Elon Musk?
No one.
And who's buying Donald Trump?
That dude's paying for babies that likely aren't his without a DNA test because I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, right?
Right. Oh, I'll give her $1 million and $500,000 a year for the next 18 years. Yeah, there's a chance. He doesn't care. How are you ever going to own a dude like that? But I think that's where the interesting difference for you historians out there is look at the difference between a statesman and a politician.
1,000%.
Donald Trump is a statesman. It's the first one in my life I can remember. Maybe Van Orden over there in Wisconsin. That dude is a rock too.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Dude, he's a stud. I don't know. I don't want to head down the Van Orden road. That's a whole other thing. And Mr. Van Orden, if you ever get to see this, boy, the opportunity is there. Please come and sit down with us. We are 27 minutes away. I'd like to talk to you about agriculture and tell them to quit docking tails on dairy cattle, but I digress.
There you go.
But there's so many absurdities that we have to deal with and navigate that maybe if people just take that little break from the bullshit, quit looking at the screen, do this other thing, let this thing kind of lay itself out. He's either going to be a hero or a villain. And if we had to sit there for 4 years watching Puddinhead pull all of his nonsense with his, 8,000 pardons done by Otto Penn, all these other things that they told us that Donald Trump, if he ever did it, he would be a maniac. The mass immigration that occurred, that thankfully Mr. Tom is taking care of business on.
That dude's an animal.
Do that. Every time. Did you see that new Border Patrol video?
No.
I'm going to send you that. Dude, it almost makes me want to become Border Patrol. It's like the old Army recruiting videos.
Have you seen the new Army recruiting videos?
No. Well, I saw the one, that really short clip with just that big yoked Iowan. It's harder to kill when you're strong.
Yep. Yeah, that one's good. But they had another one. Now they do when you graduate, you got to stand at attention till your family touches you.
Oh, no way.
And so they do this whole graduation ceremony. Everyone's standing in formation at attention. And then they let your family come down to talk to you. But you can't move from the position of attention until they touch you on the shoulder or hug you or something. So you got to stand there and just take all these words from your parents and your brothers and sisters and your wife. And these kids are crying and carrying on. And it's a really sweet commercial, man, because they're talking about pride in the military and how families are so prideful of their soldiers and the job that they do and what they're meant to do and why they're there. It's a fantastic recruiting video.
Yeah.
Versus 2 or 3 years ago, and we had trannies who hated their dicks talking about joining the Army because they're going to get free sex changes or whatever the hell the fucking narrative was. Just a complete 180, man. And it's amazing. But yeah, I wish that like you said, that people would calm down. We're just over the first 100 days, right? We're just 1 quarter into the first of 4 games.
Yep.
I mean, the first quarter just ended.
That's my favorite. Dude, it's like he's got to have a 16-speed transmission for this one.
Yeah.
Because if this is first gear, I'm looking forward to second gear.
Yeah, man. I mean, the score, the players aren't even sweating yet.
No.
You know what I mean? I think it's just too early for people to be panicked. And they said when the stock market crashed, I don't know, was it April 7th or 5th or something? All the experts were like, just don't look for 2 months. Don't look at it.
And do you know that was only a 9% drop?
Yeah.
We've only seen a 9% drop. In 2022, for you people with terrible short-term memories because of your 64 vaccinations, we lost 25% of the market's value in 2022 underneath Biden. And they redefined the word recession. They redefined the demographics of a recession because it wasn't a recession. But now at 9%, all bets are off. Boy, we gotta start throwing kids off the boat because there's no way this thing's gonna float. Isn't that striking? Because I guarantee you guys are out there. If you had money in the market, you watched it. We all did. I remember just some portions of the market were decimated, like 40%. Technologies and other things. But now here we sit 9%, and you've got CNN flashing the lights, sell, sell, sell. They're just watching. They're making poor people poor by making them emotional animals to an analytical situation. So
yeah, man. I don't know. I feel like if as Americans we just put your head down, work hard like you've always done, give the dude, like you said, he's either going to be a villain or a hero. And I don't know that it can get much worse than what we had, but it all stems, let's be honest, it all stems from just some complete intense hatred for one man. Well, now 2.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because it's not though. It's no longer contained to those people. They have energized the base to hate everyone who supports that person.
True.
And that's and there's the biggest thing that we lose as a country is our sense of community. When you come to a point where, because I've got neighbors that don't align with me politically, but you don't think we'll hang out in the backyard and our kids will play in the sandbox?
They should.
And have a cocktail? You're damn right we're going to.
Yep.
You know, and I'm sure there's some of my neighbors that would not come over and break bread with me just because of my political beliefs. And I think it's sad, but I think it's pathetic that you will do that, because your kids are going to pick up on it. If your life is so affected by one person in an office,
Yeah.
you should have really, I don't know, you should get the sand out of your Vaseline, comes to mind. You know, go crank one out and relax, man. Like, this is not that big a deal. Just because there's somebody you like and they were destroying everything or doing things negatively, it's good. But if it's somebody that you don't like that's doing things that are advantageous, that's bad. I mean, what kind of idiot would ever think that way? So
I don't know. And I don't understand how people let themselves get to that point. Like, at no time, it seems like a lot of folks at no time were like, wait a minute, this just doesn't seem right.
Right.
What are we doing here? Why are we burning this shit? Why are we destroying college campuses? Why are we attacking each other? For what?
For what?
Like, nobody ever publicly on that side ever come out and said, maybe it is true they're trying to turn us against each other. Maybe it is true that some of this is a lie or all of it's a lie. Nobody ever. They just fall for it.
No, this is literally that the ants in the glass jar, right?
Man,
You take red ants and black ants, you put them in a jar, you don't do anything, they live just fine. As soon as you shake them up, they attack.
and these are the things, bro, that sometimes make me wonder how the hell we got labeled as arguably the strongest country in the world, the most powerful nation in the world. Big bad United States of America. And we got all these fucking idiots walking our streets.
But it's the same thing that you know why 10% of the military does 90% of the job. I will take 10% of the United States and put it up against 90% of the globe. Because that same 10% that does everything day in and day out is going to be they're going to be the ones that can do it each and every day. You know, you're never going to be measured by your weakest chain. That's where your failures are going to occur. But nobody's got chains as strong as we do. Nobody's got the ability to look at morality and see it across the board like we do. Now, granted, I think our glass is a little skewed right now on what's important, you know. But on a whole, if you think we're fucked up, you know, there's people in the UK that are being arrested for potentially doing something that could be considered hate speech.
Yeah, just for saying the king's a piece of shit or something.
It's time cop. No, it's a time cop. Like, if they're in a place and they've said on the internet that they might go do this thing, and then they're found at that place before they even do anything, they're pre-arrested.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's happening.
See, I missed that.
That's iFunny, baby. That's why I'm ahead of the curve.
Folks, if you're not on iFunny,
you are not informed.
You're not informed, yeah. This is the world news. And you're probably right. Because all this mainstream media is, I don't know. It seems to me that a lot of stuff you see in the mainstream media, it's not long now after it comes out that we learn that most of it is bullshit.
Right.
Or there's some reason to question it. Gone are the days where newscasters get on and just tell you what happened.
Right.
Without giving you some opinion or some storyline to some rabbit hole.
Here's why Trump's tariffs won't work.
Yeah.
Why? How? Like, none of us know.
Who the fuck are you?
You know, and we certainly, believe you me, I don't even really understand what this means. Like,
me neither.
I have an idea based upon percentages, what makes sense, what dollars would come back, how all that would work. But I don't think there's an economist on planet Earth that has ever thought on the scale what's happening right now could happen.
You're probably right.
I guarantee it. Can you imagine what that checkbook's going to start looking like every time one of those big old container ships comes in? Because that fucker ain't getting unloaded until the check is cashed the bank. You're not writing it. That thing clears the bank before that shit's on American soil, period.
So hopefully it's in the plus.
Well, maybe this will be like COVID, where they had that big backlog of ships out in California. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah. In the Suez Canal.
Yeah, they were just everywhere. And then old Evergreen went T-tops and closed her down for a bit. But it doesn't matter anyway, because Hegseth's got a plan to get that taken back under control.
The infidel.
Do you realize we are living in a time where Jimmy Carter gave away the Panama Canal? Panama basically has let the Chinese control it. And now old Trump daddy's like, nah, I'm taking the ball back. You're not playing basketball anymore.
Uncle
It's
Donnie. Over. Uncle Donnie's going to go get his ball and go home.
He's going to get, they violated the deal. Can't let China control it. And then they're scrapping all the Chinese signs and all this bull. It's like, if anybody can't see that occurring and then understand that that's not the way that it was supposed to be, like, why the fuck would China have any stake in the Panama Canal that American dollars went to build? American workers and American lives were lost.
A lot of people died
to build this thing. American ingenuity made that happen, not a bunch of shitty Chinese shovels. So I don't know, man. I think it's an interesting time to be alive, and I'm thankful that we have certain people in place, and maybe this is just the checks and balance that we need to get to that standard middle, because I do feel like there's a clear push way further than we ever thought possible.
Yeah,
but we also have felt a pull more than we ever thought possible the last 4 years. So maybe you just have to really list left to list back right to end up in the middle where it all works.
Well, but I think that it's going to be tricky, because once this 4 years is up, like, I think it's unclear what each side has to offer. You know, and maybe this is a whole nother conversation for another time, but like, is JD Vance the answer? I don't know. I don't know if he's really a stud. I think he's just a good talker, maybe, but I haven't dug into him enough. So who knows where we're at? And so if everyone ends up back in the middle and we get all this infighting again and push and pull, and I mean, I don't know, man. I really wish that there would be some kind of independent thing.
Yeah.
I think a third party needs to, I don't know.
That would be pretty interesting to see, because you can't continually have votes that are all one side both ways.
Yeah.
And then as soon as somebody does break with their political party because the idea is good, they're cast off as traitors. You know, so how can you do that? I mean, the side that says they're for women's rights puts men in sports, and they vote down party lines. But then you can't. Now you're not pro-woman.
But then they expect you to believe that they sing the same tune all the way down the party line.
Exactly.
Not just that, okay, well, this is the stance I'm taking on this because this is going to get me votes. I'm going to go speak and I'm going to get $30,000 to speak, or I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and it's going to give me power and some kind of control.
Yep.
And a lot of people tell me, well, you know, you always talk about this money, power, and control thing, and there's really not a whole lot of evidence of it. Well, first of all, I don't know if that's true. I think there's evidence of it everywhere.
Yep.
But what else is what's the other explanation? What else could there be other than somebody is gaining something for their own personal satisfaction? Because it's clear that politicians aren't for the American people, a majority of them anyway. And any one of them that says they're 100% there because their constituents put them there and they're doing only what their constituents want them to do, I would challenge them to prove that. Even the ones we say are good.
Right. Well, as long as they're voting their conscience, I don't have an issue with it. Right. Because there's never been one politician I'm like, boy, this guy or this gal, lock, stock, and barrel. 100% of the time, I agree with them completely. It's just never going to happen.
Never.
You know, so if we got that 51-49 going, that's great. But how can we live in a world that's so freaking polarized, where no Democrat votes for a Republican thing, no Republican votes for a Democrat thing, even if they are good things?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we wouldn't even know, because we'll never actually get to see any of it anyhow. And if they did, it's all buried in bullshit. So anyway, we're down a hole on a rat hole, but well, let's just see what goes on. Either way, my $17 net worth is surely safe, and maybe Uncle Donnie can get that up to 34 by the end of 4 years. Here's to hoping. But as long as he can get gas down and keep my Kraft macaroni and cheese spiral.
I've never seen Kraft macaroni and cheese spiral.
Have you never bought spirals?
Never seen it.
Dude, come on. I don't even know you.
See, not seen these. I've not seen Chappelle's show. I've not had Spiral Kraft macaroni, and there's a lot of things I'm missing in my life.
You are sheltered.
Talk to Eva.
But
Ma,
the man
it's
knows
coming
good
after-
Polish food when it comes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so
Yeah. that's
free
all we
pass.
need to know.
That's it.
All right, you want pierogies? Let me know. Hit us up, 3clicksmedia.com. Good night.